Okay, so I'm going to go through this very quickly. Number 1, explain the rise of Stalin. If they ask you this way, your 2 points would be political manipulations. Okay, your second point would be external circumstances. So then you give all your points in summary. So there are 3 factors for political manipulations. Total control over party organization. So this is his Secretary General power, so I put it in one paragraph. As such, he could replace allies of his opponents, Trotsky, with his own. Then after that, I moved on to manipulating ideological divisions, which is how he allied himself with moderate members at first to expel Trotsky before breaking the Troika alliance to remove Kamenev and Zinoviev, finally winning support of the radicals to attack Bukharin and Rykov. Okay, as long as the marker sees that you know certain points with regards to this factor, they will give you the mark. So you don't need to be so precise, but you need to know what you are writing. Okay, so how do you explain this? Because of all these things, hence your major political opponents and competitors are removed, discredited, and even executed. As such, Stalin has no one to oppose his rule. Those who were with him were loyal as they owed their positions to him. Now this owing positions to him is very, very important. Okay, so as such, he can rise to power easily. So it's as simple as that. Give your point, give your examples very clearly. In this case, it's summarizing 3 points into one, and then give your explanation after that in clear sentences so the marker can see that you are thinking about the explanation, which is here again: political opponents removed, discredited, and executed, and hence no one could oppose him. Next, external circumstances. You basically need to write again many points condensed into one, so the most notable of which is Trotsky's unpopularity. Okay, in this case, because this is a big point, so I think this point in itself is enough. Okay, who was he? Leader of the Red Army. What was his character? Outspoken. What is his main criticism? Lenin's NEP, and he openly challenges the policies of the party. So the main things that he believed were permanent revolution as opposed to socialism in one country. This is the crux. This is another key point that you must know. Okay, so how do you explain this? Very simple. Because of this, he was seen as the biggest threat, and alliances were formed against him to discredit and remove him from power. So it's very similar to how you explained the previous point. So then you explain how Stalin in particular rose, because you must relate to the question. So you say one such alliance is the Troika alliance, so repeating the same point again, which discredited Trotsky and undermined his position. Hence, he is discredited, and this allowed Stalin to rise to power quickly. So everything is cause and effect. So when you're writing, you have to think about all the examples first, and then why all these examples helped him to reign in power, which is cause and effect. So Trotsky is gone, alliances discredited, removed from power. One such alliance is Troika, with Kamenev and Zinoviev, so the discredited Trotsky undermined his position, and with the biggest threat discredited, this allows Stalin free reign to rise to power effectively. Okay, so this is one way they can ask you. Another way they can ask you is by doing this. Explain how Stalin manipulated his way to power. In this way, you have to write one paragraph for 1 point. So you can put one paragraph for pretending to be close to Lenin, and one paragraph for control over party organizations, and then you just write it in the same way that is in your notes. Okay, so that should be pretty easy. Now for chapter 1, there's the TOV. They can ask you why was the TOV unfair, or explain why Germany hated the TOV. So you must always address the question. If they ask you why is it unfair, you have to say it's unfair. 1 point you can say is because it was forced upon Germany. Okay, the other point, it was extremely harsh. So these are your 2 points. Okay, so for extremely harsh, then you give why is it extremely harsh. So in your example, you write reparations, coal mines, resource-rich territory taken away. Then you add on by saying could not pay. France accused her of sabotaging the economy to reduce the value of payments, and thus France sends army to the rural industrial region to confiscate coal and other goods as payment. Okay, so then you must say why is it harsh. It was harsh because what was happening in Germany at that time. So you must know she was already in the midst of economic problems after World War One. So he didn't have the ability to pay the loans. So this aggravated, right, Germany's economy. Okay, I forgot to put this down. Economy, and it was worsened by the fact that 15% of the active male population was lost in war, which greatly affected the rebuilding of the economy. As such, the financial burden was too much for Germany to bear, so cause and effect again. So you can add on, leading to high unemployment and extreme. With unemployment comes extreme poverty. Okay, thus it was too harsh on Germany and unfair. So you're linking back to the question again. So another point you can put for unfair would be it's unfair because it was forced upon Germany. So for this point, your focus will be on the war guilt cause. War guilt cause. So Germany agreed to stop the war on favorable terms but was not invited for the agreement. Okay, remember she was not invited in the discussion. So the main thing of this war guilt cause is the total blame. With total blame, then you have the right to issue the heavy reparations and territorial reductions. Okay, and you can include and the military sanctions as well. It was put on Germany. Not sanctions, limitations. Okay, this was highly unfair. So this is your explanation from here onwards. So it's unfair because not just Germany started the war, the Allies started as well. Okay, so but yet it seemed that the treaty only favored the victors and Germany was paid to pay a huge price which she did not agree to. Okay, the Allies were not penalized. Okay, spell wrongly. Penalized as much. Okay, this humiliated Germany, who was, remember, there's a status, world standing, and because of this they lost their status, making them unfair for Germany. Okay, so everything is very clear, cause and effect. Okay, lastly will be the LN. So LN, they'll only ask you why is it weak. So you can put one factor as one paragraph, which is limited membership. The other one is lack of authority and credibility. Okay, so why limited membership? Then your example, again, you have to know all these facts. Economic problems and military weak from the efforts in World War II. Countries thought not to get involved in conflicts, so they only were looking to take care of themselves. As such, one notable exclusion was the US, so you must mention the world's largest economy and status as a military power. Okay, thus they preferred to engage foreign affairs in their own terms rather than commit to the League. So how do you explain? As such, they don't have the military backing. What's the effect of this? You can't enforce your will. Okay, so everything cause an effect. As such, with this, when you cannot enforce your will, people won't trust you, people won't take you seriously. So your reputation is tarnished, the league's reputation. Another one is the authority and credibility. Okay, this has to do with the TOV, which favored again the victorious nations. So out of 40 inside 31 were the allies. So they were highly inadequate because they were favoring the allies. So this made them ineffective against strong offending league member nations, which you know who are the two. Of course, Germany, Italy, and Japan from expanding, and they were free from the sanctions because they were part of the league. So other countries looked at this and saw that it was unfair, and this is why the reason why it lost authority and credibility, making the league seen as weak. Okay, so very quickly for Sbq, what you need to know, very important, is context. Context is key. In history, Sbq, context is key, so you must write down what were the motivations for the author in making the speech. Okay, so you have to know and look at the provenance, which is the date that the source was made. So based on this timeline, you must know what exactly was happening. 1919, end of World War I, Weimar government. 1919 to 1923 were the putschs and oppositions. 1929, Great Depression. And then here onwards, 1932 to 33 were the parts where Hitler used a lot of propaganda to push for power. So if they give you a propaganda source, you can say that this was the period Hitler was gaining influence to rise to power, and hence he created this source to influence the masses of his ideals, of the positivity of his ideals. Okay, so the next part is this part. 1933 to 34, he consolidated his power, and from 1934 to 1942 onwards, if they ask you the source from this period, it was the period where he was already ruling in Germany. So you must know this. Okay, so I need 3 minutes left. Quickly, reliability, you must check the content. Check other content to see if this agree or disagree. Then make sure that you write in the proper format. The source is unreliable in telling me that, or I can believe. This source shows that, and this suggests that. And this statement is very important. As it is unreliable as it is supported or contradicted by source B, your secondary source, which says blah 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 was the main inference. So always start with your main stand and infer your main source first before going on to say whether it's reliable or unreliable because it's supported or contradicted by another source. So pick the evidence that is directly saying the same thing. Okay, but make sure that it is a reliable source. So the cross-reference source must be reliable. Okay, after you have done this, the next part will be it's unreliable because of the purpose. So normally it's unreliable because it is biased or one-sided, so you have to write this down. It was published by whoever, and hence I analyzed it and I know that it's a propaganda. And it was said to do what? What is the purpose? Okay? Then you quote the evidence and explain the outcome. And thus it is unreliable in telling me that because it has an agenda. Because it has an agenda. Okay, for comparison reminders, the SS, many people make this mistake. The similarity may be the stand in relation to the issue, but the difference is the reason. Okay, remember your inference statement. So if you talk about differences, you must know that both sources are different when Hitler's rule benefited the Germans. Okay, this is your main comparison statement, but then you must write the topic sentence for both sources, which was missing in some papers. Source A says that Hitler's rule benefited, source B says that Hitler. This is very important. Very important. So please put it in. Okay, after that, then you go on to your evidence and explanation. So remember, this sentence is very important when you're doing comparison. And another thing is that the stand, okay, look at the stand and compare. there are similar stands or there are different stands, and the second part would be normally is the reason why these stands are different.